His thumbnail is cracking me up, man, for this video. Oh, man. That was how long he made his head. Are you ready? Good. Get over to Nerdrotic and subscribe. Tell him Tyrone Magnus sent you.
It's been a long way. Some bad things might have happened.
Give me the meat and give it to me raw.
Send a tempest in me. You have not seen what I have seen.
That Benny Hill music.
Step, twist, gut. Come at me.
No.
Let me tell you guys something. Benny Hill was a comedy show, sketch show, I think. Back in, might have been the 80s, might have been earlier than that. I remember seeing it in the 80s. I wasn't allowed to watch it because apparently he was nasty. He would do funny, sexual type jokes and stuff, pinching girls' butts, stuff like that. But they would have stuff sometimes when I think it was the intro. It's so vague in my mind, but I kind of remember people they would speed him up the way he would do stuff. And I think he would do things really fast and be maybe chasing a girl around a table and, she might smash a cake in his face. And while all this is happening, they'd be playing this music. You get what I'm saying? So just look up Benny Hill. You'll probably see it, just so you guys know. There you go. Gave you a little TV historical lesson. Hopefully it was accurate enough.
Nerdrotic.com.
Greetings, you over 1 million practitioners of common sense and the 40% who haven't subscribed yet. Yes, it's time to talk about the Rings of Power again. Because out of nowhere, on May 13th of current year, Amazon announced they were going to release a teaser for Season 2, which I'm sure had nothing to do with the May 9th announcement from Warner Brothers that Peter Jackson was returning to Lord of the Rings to produce 2 Golem films directed by, and I'm assuming starring, Andy Serkis. Not to be outdone, on the very same day Amazon announced the teaser trailer, Warner Brothers followed up with an announcement that they were going to release footage from War of the Rohirrim at a film festival in France. This brings us to May 14th of current year, where yes, Amazon did indeed release a teaser for the Rings of Power Season 2, which we will get to, but 1 hour later, because David Zaslav had his hands...
I was just about to say, Warner Brothers stole their thunder. These companies are dicks to each other, man.
Send button. Warner Brothers decided to respond with a brand new House of the Dragon trailer. The best description of this is from Lily on Twitter. This is the Kendrick and Drake beef for nerds, except with giant IP mining corporations. And it's glorious. But before we get into breaking down the new teaser, because it's been 2 years, let's briefly recap the Rims of Power Season 1.
Rims of Power. If you guys don't know what rims are, I'm not going to tell you. You can look it up. Slang.
It is the second age of Arda, and after Celeborn went out for pipeweed and never came home, his wife, the warrior Galadriel, wandered Middle-earth for 1,000 years looking for Sauron without a map. After easily killing an ice troll in under 10 seconds, but inevitably failing her mission, Galadriel is sent to Valinor by High King Gil-galad for being annoying. But girl boss warrior Galadriel's not gonna let no man tell her what to do, so she jumps out of a ship, swims across an ocean, and runs into a guy named Halbrand who's totally not Sauron. Then they go to Numenor and find out that all the Numenorians are racist because they think the elves are going to take their jobs. Elsewhere, Doogie Elrond is in a homoerotic relationship with Durin IV.
Give me the meat.
Behind the back of his wife, Dwarf of Color, Disa. Meanwhile, in the south, we have 2 brand new made-up characters by Amazon, Don Lemonless, who falls in love with the Middle-earth dispensary owner and single mother Bronwyn. And even though there's no mention of them in the Second Age, there's the Harfoots with female Frodo and female Sam, who run into totally not Gandalf and then are pursued by the Nazgirls. In the Rings of Power Season 1, we learn the origins of metals like mithril and geographic locations when a southern tweaker named Waldrig grabs a sword and starts a contraption that was co-engineered by the designers of Milton Bradley's Mousetrap to create Mordor, which was revealed in possibly the most exciting way, a change of font. And the series ends with Guy Ladriel figuring out what the...
I wanted that game so bad when I was a kid. I remember that commercial. I remember a specific part. Flip the man into the pan. Watch. Go look up Mousetrap 1980s commercial. You can find it because I showed Scarlo because we were talking about, we both wanted it as a kid. And I said, flip the man into the pan. She started laughing. She was like, I remember that. Yeah.
Audience knew since the first episode, Halbrand was Sauron, and Galadriel, one of the wisest beings in the history of Middle-earth, let Sauron go and doesn't tell anybody. And along with Celebrimbor, the master smith of Middle-earth, who had no idea what an alloy was until he met Halbrand, who was totally not Sauron, they forged the 3 elven rings of power at the end. And it should be no surprise Amazon has been radio silent since the end of Season 1, considering every trailer and clip they put on YouTube was ratioed into oblivion, the comment sections were glorious, and the reviews were horrendous. And there's that little issue of losing 63% of their audience as the series progressed. And after watching the Season 2 teaser trailer, it's clear absolutely nothing has changed.
Listen, it's kind of... These companies doing this to themselves has become kind of funny, hysterical even, because you see them doing it, they put out these trailers, and then you see them getting ratioed, and the internet is pretty much undefeated when it comes to roasting, you know what I mean? So it's like the stuff that the fans put out and have to say is just hilarious. It reminds me of my little brother when he was a kid. And the sad part is these are grown adults that are putting this stuff out. He had a fascination for bees. And there was this yellow jacket nest that was in the back of our house that he kept messing with. And he would get stung and he would go back. I come home from school and I see my mom with ice on his face, on his eyes. His eyes, both of his eyes are swollen shut almost because he kept going back to that yellow jacket nest, to whatever it was, pick him up, whatever he was doing. And see, the thing is, this wasn't the first time. First, he was fascinated with honeybees that he would see out in the yard. You know what I mean? Trying to get the nectar out of the flowers. And he kept getting stung doing that. And I think with the yellow jackets, that was finally the last time. It's funny because he kept doing it. These companies have swollen faces from continuing to mess with bees. Leave the bees alone. Just do what you've been doing that was creating good content. Oh, God, man.
There's nothing like setting the tone with your teaser trailer by putting it to music that sounds like a troll taking a dump. Now, in the next clip, I don't believe in the history of teasers or trailers there has been a better description of what this show really is. An evil has returned. Amazon's The Rings of Power. Accurate right down to that big black sploogey mess that looks like the Venom symbiote crawling from the depths that in the show is sucking the life out of Middle-earth, just as Amazon is sucking the life out of the professor's work. And looky here, Warrior Galadriel is back with her little pal Doogie Elrond and my producer X-Ray Girl. Now, if you look closely, because I completely missed it the first couple of times, it looks like Guy Ladriel and her company are up against the Barrow Whites. Now, it can't be the ones Frodo and company encountered in the Fellowship of the Rings book, but that's never stopped Amazon before. Maybe it's some earlier form that, just like with the Harfoots, through some contractual obligation, they're going to have to rename to the Barrow White Supremacists. Or it could be something Amazon completely made up. I have no idea. It looks like the Nazgirls are back. Guess who's back? And here is Master Smith of Middle Earth, who couldn't figure out what
Eminem.
alloy was until he talked to Hellbrand. And who is he looking at? Sauron?
Feels so
I think he
weird.
has been here. I think he's been here among us all along.
Now, let's not get bogged down with the details that Amazon's Jennifer Salke, Lindsay Weber, J.D. Payne, and Patrick McKay, amongst others, essentially prison rape Tolkien's lore. And one of the many things they completely botched was the forging of the Rings of Power by the Elven Smiths of Eregion by doing it completely out of order. They didn't show any of the forging of the lesser rings, which were considered an essay in the craft. Oh, and there's that pesky detail of Sauron as Anatar not being there because they replaced him with Sauron as Halbrand. But don't worry, they've seen the error of their ways and they're going to bring him back, but he's going to look totally different.
See? That's hilarious. Told you. He looks so stupid.
He tried it. Yes, this is the cunning shapeshifter Sauron the Great, who has the ability to change into a serpent, a vampire, or a werewolf in his fairest form, Anatar.
Now that I think about it, I guess they were really, his last haircut did his hairline some justice, because wow. Yeah, he did kind of have the whole messy hangover thing, right? Yeah. I guess that's his real hairline. Man, they did not do him any favors. I'd have been mad. I'd be like, hey, look, y'all took my hairline back a couple of inches. They're going to be talking about this. I'd have had something to say.
The Lord of Gifts, using his immense power to put on a wig. Oh, this clever disguise. How will you ever see through it? And I know what you're thinking, dear viewer. There's no way in hell they're going to bring back Halbrand with a wig and no one's going to recognize him, right?
I've had an unexpected visitor.
What? More on that later. Back to the trailer. There's a big rock falling in Khazad-dûm, leading to a lot of speculation that this may be the Balrog. Remember the Balrog? Of course, that doesn't happen until almost 2,000 years into the Third Age, but would it surprise anybody at this point? Here's an orc licking a knife. Remember Lurtz from the Fellowship of the Ring? Here's our Pharazôn with an eagle. Remember the eagles from Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, I remember that.
Never mind the fact that the eagles had bailed on the Númenóreans by then. Isildur's back, and it looks like he's going up against a big spider. Remember Shelob? Remember the 3 elven rings that were supposed to be forged by Celebrimbor alone became Galadriel's idea?
We must make 3. One will always corrupt. 2 will divide.
But with 3, there is balance.
What? Remember the ring verse? Remember when they repurposed dialogue in the Rings of Power Season 1?
You would make me a tyrant.
I would make you a queen, fair as the sea and the sun,
What?
stronger than the foundations of the earth.
We get to see the return of the elf of color, Don Lemonless.
The darkness did reach him.
I'm not touching
I
that.
knew he reminded me of somebody. I knew he reminded me of somebody.
One.
Evil motherfucker, black
Magic.
And the dwarf of color, shill favorite Disa.
We kind of touched on it and teased on it in season 1. This time you will see us in all our glory.
Then there's some quick cuts. We see Durin the Third getting his Ring of Power. They show a fortress that a lot of us thought was Barad-dûr, but actually it's the fortress from season 1, where Galadriel killed an ice troll in under 10 seconds with the greatest of ease. A scene best described by Joel Berry on Twitter. My favorite part of the new Rings of Power trailer is when Sauron makes a face like, "It's Saruman time," and then freezes the kingdom like Elsa from Frozen. Here we have what looks like the sack of Eregion, which doesn't end well, and that reminds me, there's supposed to be a major character there. Galadriel's husband, Celeborn.
Welcome to
Well,
Solve
Galadriel better hope
Mysteries.
he doesn't come back because she's
I'm
going to have
Robert
a lot
Stack.
of explaining to do. But as far as the sack of Eregion within the lore of the show, that all could have been avoided if Galadriel did one little thing. But first, let's hear from the warrior Galadriel herself, what she's going to be up to in Season 2.
This season, Galadriel's being driven more by a bigger purpose.
Bigger than hunting for Sauron for 1,000 years without a map? Yup!
Sauron's building his strength.
And whose fault is that, Galadriel? Why, it's yours. For letting him go once you figured out he was Halbrand and not telling Celebrimbor or Doogie Elrond. But it looks like that's another thing they're gonna fix for Season 2.
You Sauron.
You sure about that? You sure about that?
But to be fair, it's obvious that Amazon has listened to the fans and they are going to course correct by retroactively screwing up more lore. The bad news is Amazon's behind the times. A year and a half ago, they announced every episode of Season 2 would be directed by a woman. Now we're in a time Hollywood believes men can do a better job as women. But let's look on the bright side. At least we haven't heard from any super fans yet.
A lot of talking about Miguel Galadriel. Which is better, House of the Dragon or Rings of Power? Well, I haven't watched Rings of Power yet.
At least we haven't heard from any adult pretenders droning on about the show's lore-shattering diversity yet.
She is the first female dwarf that we will ever see on screen. Woo, woo, woo.
Disa, the first female dwarf that we have ever seen on any screen.
No.
It means absolutely everything. It is everything. It is everything for people of colour. It is everything to progress forward
And at least there haven't been any attacks on the fans yet. Now, we have heard from the shills, but the Fellowship can handle them. And the comment section on YouTube has been glorious. Elrond, we have but only one choice. The wig must be destroyed. Galadriel, no man can fool me. Sauron puts on wig. I am no man. But they were all of them deceived, for another wig was made. Boromir, what is this devilry? Gandalf, a wig, a hairpiece of the ancient world. This foe is beyond any of you. Run! And my personal favorite, I don't wear half my wigs half as much as I would like to, and I wear less than half of my wigs half as much as they deserve. Speaking of YouTube, how about that House of the Dragon Season 2 trailer coming out an hour after the Rings of Power Season 2 trailer and becoming the living embodiment of this game. At time of recording, Hot D Season 2 is currently number 6 on trending.
Drop the balls on your forehead.
Story for the Rings of Power Season 2 trailer, which at time of recording is number 5 on trending. 1 ratio to rule them all. And it's not much better for the behind the scenes video, which is ratioed. Let's take a look around the world. Canada, ratioed. France, ratioed. Germany, ratioed. Japan, dislikes turned off.
Here, you know, I never knew this, and I forgot who talked about it. It might have been Endymion. But they talked about how by these companies, they are getting these ESG DEI loans to make their video games or to make their movies. I thought they just had a certain amount of money set aside from their profits to make their movies. I didn't know they were taking out loans. So these companies have taken out these loans. I would have gave the money back so that I could. There's got to be at least one studio, whether it's a gaming studio or a movie studio, that took an ESG loan and it was like, whoa, these people are getting destroyed. Oh my God, other companies are dying doing these. There had to be at least one that just paid the loan and said, no, here's the money back. I am not doing this project. Or maybe there's some signing on the dotted line that no matter what, you gotta do it. I don't know, but it wouldn't have been me. It wouldn't have been me, man. Like George Lucas paid for all of his stuff, he financed all his stuff and maybe he took out loans. You know what I'm saying? But mine would have been DEI ESG loan free. Like, I got to do all of this like it pigeonholes you to do stuff that the fans don't want. Stuff keeps looking out of whack. It doesn't look right. It's like, wait, why is this guy here? Why is she here? Wait, why are they? Why? Like, it just doesn't make sense. There's all these round pegs and square holes, and it doesn't work, as you can see.
Australia and New Zealand ratioed. Ireland and Professor Tolkien's home country, the UK, ratioed. Nature is healing. And the best news of all in this tumultuous world, it's the Fellowship bringing people together. But if Amazon wants to start this all back up again, we'll be ready.
Good knuckles for 8. And Rohan will answer. Muster the row hear him.
Nerdrotic.com.
He was strong in life. His spirit will find its way to
I was going to say he passed away, didn't he? R.I.P., man. Post comments down below. Let me know what y'all thought. If you enjoyed my reaction, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and share. And I will see you in the next video.